It is 4 o'clock in the morning and we are heading towards Araspura sector, which is one of the most dangerous zones along Indo-Pak border. Hardly a day passes when trigger-happy Pakistani Rangers are not pounding killer shells in the area. Let us visit the place and have feel of the situation from ground zero.
It's a little after 4 a.m. in the morning. The air still thick with the cacophony of gunfire. An uneasiness still palpable in the atmosphere. The uncertainty of the next strike still looming. It has been a rough night. The mortar shelling, the violations still fresh. Daring Indian soldiers hold fort, ready to retaliate if the enemy moves an inch. They are well aware of the task at hand, preparing for the fight back. Since 1971, this has been the most prolonged aggression from Pakistan, probably a retaliation after India called off talks with a rogue Islamabad. It was these unwarranted talks of the separatists with the Pakistani High Commissioner that pushed India to call off talks. And now these residents at the border are bearing the brunt of Pakistan's cowardly tactics. These bullet marks that pierce through the shelters expose the proxy war that is raging at the border. Each night is a fresh drill as these innocent, hapless residents dodge shells to save their lives.
हमारे सारे बेटे वहाँ पर इकट्ठे हुए थे, सारे सभी घर वाले सभी वहाँ पर इकट्ठे हुए थे. उधर से गोला आया, सभी जख्मी हो गए. सिर्फ एक बूढ़ा रह गया, सभी जख्मी हो गए. 2 खत्म हो गए, बाकी 3 वो अस्पताल में पे हैं. पूरी परेशानी क्या, सभी घर का रात को कोई सोता नहीं, सभी रात को बच्चे वो पे नमशहर में सभी उधर जाते हैं. रात को कोई पूछता है, कोई पूछता नहीं, कोई बांध के पीछे जाकर उधर लेट जाते हैं. 3 बंदे तो हमारे, 2 तो खत्म हो गए, 3 तो अस्पताल में पे हैं. एक बूढ़ा है बेचारा, क्या करे. इसको भी आज कल परसों रात को फेरी चलिए भी उधर गया, उधर जाकर मोटर के थल्ले गिरा तो वहाँ पर उसके थल्ले लेट गया, बांध के पीछे लेट गया.
In a span of 50 days, over 12,000 mortar shells have been fired by Pakistani Rangers.
सामने देख 500 मीटर दुश्मन का स्नाइपर द्वारा बर्बाद करेगा एक चीज से. मोटर पोजीशन 20 गज आगे. मोटर ले.
The Jawans at the border responding in equal measure. Some brave soldiers even losing their lives as they push back the enemy. The challenge for the troops is big. And here the BSF commander is seen working on a strategy with his team.
Talking to the morale of the force, it's extremely high, extremely high. You see, the motto of BSF is duty unto death, and each one knows his motto and each one is doing. And if you go for any training or if you visit any BOP, and when the Jawans, when they tell us to what is the duty of each and every person on a different assigned job, they say that Akhri Goli Akhri Dam, and that is what they follow in letter and spirit. And the force of the morale of the force, all ranks and file deployed on the border, I can say it with conviction and confidence that it is very, very high.
At 5:50 a.m. in the morning, at the Pindi and Pital post near the border, work is in full swing. The posts have been continuously targeted in the last few days. the Pakistani rogues have been incessantly firing high-caliber mortars. The soldiers readying their weaponry, gearing up for the big challenge ahead. Heading towards the forward posts to thwart the designs of the Pakistani cowards.
Uncertainty is the only certainty in this Pindi post of Araspura, which is just right on the international border. Moving out without fearing bulletproof jacket is like inviting trouble. You never know when the trigger-happy Pakistani rangers are going to open the mouths of their guns and their flurrying bullets and splinters are going to hit you out.
As the firefighting on the border rages on, some troop members are constantly monitoring suspicious movements, if any. Suddenly, some untoward action is spotted. 2 people have been caught on the surveillance tapes. The Jawans are immediately alerted, and a fresh strike is in place to counter the terrorists. There are close to 25 to 30 terror launch pads that are all active along the border. The forces have inputs that about 150 terrorists, after completing their arms training, are looking to sneak into the Indian side.
Because of heavy shelling by Pakistani rangers, movement in this area along the international border has been restricted. As darkness recedes, one can't take the risk of moving out in open. The best option is only to crawl, as this way you are going to expose yourself to enemy fire.
The firing refuses to cease. Our Jawans ducking the enemy, taking strategic positions to hit back. In fact, there is a sinister ploy at play. Park Rangers open fire at Indian posts to distract our soldiers. It's a cowardly move to push in more terrorists into the Indian territory. The army is well aware of the designs. They have now devised a multi-pronged strategy to counter the enemy.
My men are totally motivated to tackle any type of offensive from the counterpart side, and we are ensuring that we don't target any civilian target on counterpart side, but they are targeting our men and civilian on this side, but we ensure total and proper safety of our men and villagers around the camp. The basic aim of counterpart is to provide cover to the infiltrators and scuttle the peace in our area of responsibility.
The points marked out on these maps are the most notorious. The Shaheen, Ashraf and the North Charwa posts have been firing continuously. But the treachery at the border has not deterred our Jawans. Soldiers like Constable Pradhan have been guarding the line of control for months now. They are determined to push back the enemy at any cost.
हम उस वक्त देश का ही नाम ज़्यादा लेते हैं और हम अपने अपनी पोजीशन से फायर का जवाब देते हैं। हमें इसमें फायर देने में किसी प्रकार की कोई तकलीफ नहीं होती है और ना ही हम उनके फायर से किसी प्रकार की हमारे में घबराहट आती है। हम सीमा पर तैनात है, हम अपने जी जान लगा के अपनी सीमा की रक्षा करेंगे और इसी तरह फायरिंग आए तो हम जवाब देते रहेंगे।
The unabated firing by the Rangers of the Pakistan, totally supported by the Army of Pakistan, it is totally unacceptable. It's not acceptable at all. And I have been told the heavy machinery is being used for the first time since 1971. I don't know what's wrong with the Pakistani government and the Pakistani army. The number of ceasefire violations which we are seeing for the past 1.5 months, we have never seen so many ceasefire violations taking place in shorter span of time of 45 days. I think the government of India, this is the high time that the government of India should the message across that we cannot accept this type of ceasefire violation anymore.
Ceasefire violations have long been a reality at the border. But this time, the Pakistani troops have been using deceitful stunts to cheat our soldiers. The Indian forces have been crushing the enemy and are determined to push them away.
रात को हम ड्यूटी जाते हैं और हमारे वो उधर से पाकिस्तान वाले घुसपैठ करने की कोशिश करते हैं, जिससे फायरिंग भी करते हैं वो। तो फायरिंग का हम मुंहतोड़ जवाब देते हैं। कोई भी ऐसा नहीं है जो हमारे देश की सीमा को छू सके।
किलो 1 आपने अपनी पोजीशन ऑक्यूपाई कर लिया है। ओके। माहौल से तो निकलेंगे।